everybody, it's Caitlin, your geeky girlfriend. I'm not real sure what's going on with this lighting, but it kind of works for what we're going to do in tonight's video. I'm going to be going through some clothes and stuff in my closet, but we're also going to talk about a book that I read recently. So if you are new here, hello, I'm Caitlin, and for more fun, you can follow me over on Instagram for more lifestyle, outfits, all the things. And this was my little fit today. This is like a thrifted tank, and I just wore some shorts that I've had forever, but that's not what we're talking about in this video. Tonight we're going to talk about the Housemaid by Frieda McFadden. It was one of my book club books for the month, and we're going to be reading it and talking about it in September. So while I kind of do some closet clean out stuff, we're going to talk about the Housemaid. So here we go. Okay, and before you all come at me, I am going through all of the stuff that's currently in my closet, with the exception of like newer stuff that I bought, because one, I have a clothing sale coming up in October, and so I want to make sure that everything is out of the closet for that sale. But also, I just recently have been really craving a change in wardrobe and a change in like style. And so I have all of this stuff that just hangs in the closet year after year. So we're trying everything on, and if I don't like how it fits, we're getting rid of it, and it's as simple as that. But let's talk about the Housemaid. So if you missed it, I recently reviewed The Teacher by Frieda McFadden, and great read. Definitely go check out my full review of that, because highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Like, yeah, just go watch my review and then read that book. And so after reading The Teacher, I was really excited to read The Housemaid, because I, had just, I was coming off of this high of reading The Teacher, and it was so good. And all the things, like, it was just thrilling. It was, I'm not going to talk about that book. If I start talking about The Teacher, I won't stop. But, so I was really excited to read The Housemaid. And then I got into it, and I just didn't love it. Like, it was fine. I rated it 3 stars on Goodreads. If you saw my star ratings, 3 stars for me means it's a very solid, okay book. Like, it doesn't wow me. It doesn't blow me away by any means. And it was fine. It was, like, The Teacher was very psychological thriller. The Housemaid was more, I don't know if creepy is the right word. I don't know if thriller is the right word. Like, I don't know. To me, it would get like a 1 to a 1.5 in the ghosty spooky scale, because things were happening in real time. You got like teasers of things that had happened in the past, but nothing like really creepy, scary happened until the very, very end. And even then, depending on your like level of tolerance or how desensitized you are to different things, like, you might not have thought it was that bad. But essentially it goes like, there is some like torture-y type stuff that happens, and like I said, depending on your level of comfort, your level of desensitization, whatever, like, you might have walked away from this book unscathed. And whether that's a statement to me as a reader or just the levels in the book, I pretty much walked away unscathed. Like, I wouldn't say it was predictable by any means, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's my overall summation of this book, is I don't know how to describe it to you guys. I don't really know let's just talk about the plot a little bit. So the plot essentially is this woman wants to, sorry, Remy. This woman wants to hire a housekeeper. And the housekeeper's name is Millie, and the book opens up with Millie being interviewed to go work for Nina. They have this beautiful house, you know, and she is married to Andrew, who's like the typical doting dad, you know, the daughter isn't his biological child, but he still loves her, and blah, blah, blah. And so you got that going for you, like the doting father, not whatever type. But you also have like the side character of like the gardener, and so just lots of side characters. The daughter, of course, is like spoiled brat, because as is with all like nanny housekeeper tropey things, the daughter is always a little bit of a butthole, and she is in this, like, this is no exception. So you go through the book and you're like, okay, you know, Nina's not great, whatever. And then in part 2, the narrative kind of shifts. So the whole story is told through Millie's perspective all the way through part 1. And then in part 2, it is told through Nina's perspective. And of course, as with that, you get more details about the background and all these things. So the events kind of unravel in that regard. And yeah, like I said, I rated it 3 stars on Goodreads. I didn't really feel super strongly about any of it. Like, I didn't feel that it was super thrilling. Didn't feel like it was super scary. Was it a good book? Sure. But was it great? No. And I think that's the difference. Like, the teacher just completely surprised me. Shock and awe. Just totally not what I was expecting at all. And then I was expecting that same level of shock and awe from The Housemaid, and I just didn't get it. Now, all that being said, when I got to the end and I was reading the epilogue made me really excited to read the second one. So despite having kind of lackluster reactions throughout reading, I still walked away from it and was like, oh yeah, I would read the second one of these. The second one is, of course, called The Housemaid is Watching, and picks up right where the first one leaves off. And yeah, so I don't know. I think some people love this book. Some people don't love this book. I am interested to read the second one to see how the second one compares to the first. But it has nothing on the teacher. Like, and maybe that was my mistake. Maybe if I would have read The Housemaid first, I would have been like, wow, this was a really good book. Maybe I would have given it 4 stars, maybe 4.5, and then the teacher would have been like a 10 out of 10, right? But I think because I read the teacher first, I'm having a similar reaction that I do when I talk about Verity and Colleen Hoover. Verity was the first Colleen Hoover book that I read, and since then, none of them have lived up to its standards. Now, whether it is just The Housemaid is more of a thriller and the teacher was more of a psychological thriller, and I'm just discovering that I like more psychological thriller books, I'm not sure. But like I said, I don't really have strong feelings. Like, it was a very solid, okay book. Solid 3-star book. Spice level is a 1. All of it's like closed door. They kind of briefly will say like, oh yeah, you know, we made love or we had sex or whatever. They just talk about it. There's no actual descriptions. And then a big storyline in the novel is that, well, at least in part 1, you think that Nina and Andrew are trying to conceive. So there's this whole like illusion that they are having sex and trying to conceive. But again, all closed door, no actual descriptors of anything. And yeah, so, and yeah, like I said, it's so a 1. And then for the thrill and like spooky vibe, for me, it literally got a 1 to a 1.5 ghost, because like I said, there was a few like creepy moments and like a few like, oh my gosh, but they weren't like that intense, if you get what I'm saying. Very, very cutesy, very demure. Like, I'm sure somebody somewhere out there endured a jump scare when reading this book. It did not happen to me. But I also am very guilty of kind of reading ahead too. Like, I at the end of the chapter, I would like kind of jump to the end of the page and then go back, just because I like the suspense. I guess from that regard, the suspense was killing me, and that I literally couldn't wait to just get to the end of the chapter. I had to like skip ahead to the end of the page. So I guess, like I said, on that regard, it yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I think I'm just stalling at this point. Is Frieda McFadden a good author? Yes, sure. Was this one her best? To be determined. But no, because The Teacher was way better. So if you want to hear my thoughts about The Teacher, make sure you go and check out that review. Otherwise, stay tuned. I will be reading The Housemaid is Watching. Just, I can't promise when I will be reading it, but I will be reading The Housemaid is Watching at some point. And Frieda McFadden has a lot of other books. So, like, this one might, like, this one just didn't do it for me, and that is okay. I'm sure I will read more of her books, and I'm sure I will find one that I like just as much as The Teacher. But it wasn't this one. And that's fair, right? So, but still a 3-star book. And if you are new to the thriller genre, I think it's a good one to start with. It's not too in your face. It's not too intense. Just know that it's not The Teacher. I think that's all I have to say in this video. I feel like I just keep repeating myself, so we're just going to go ahead and call it a day. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay tuned. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about this book and all the other ones that I have reviewed, and stay tuned for more book reviews to come. And all the things. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.